So I'm in Long Circular Mall, right? And I want you to see this. I'm on the 3rd floor of Long Circular Mall. There was a time, if you wanted to get space to rent in Long Circular Mall, you'd have to call the mall office and they'd put you on a list. And if you were lucky, they would call you in like a lottery. And the reason I'm doing this video is this boutique is like a landmark. Chantal Mondi's boutique is like a landmark. It's been here 38 years. And if you look at the signs in the window, you will see it says closing down sale. I was speaking to Chantal because she almost single-handedly established high fashion and couture, that's what it's called? Couture in Trinidad. Hi Chantal.
Hi Philip.
What's the story?
So the story is Long Circular Mall was a Clico mall, and when Lawrence Dupre got away and did his crap without any repercussions, we are the ones who suffered. So the mall was taken over by the government and they claim to have absolutely no money to upgrade the mall. So we who have a mall of a certain type, European high fashion, we are like if we are downtown Charlotte Street.
That was exactly what crossed my mind. When I came up the escalator, I was thinking, this mall that was the premiere of shopping in Trinidad feels like Charlotte Street.
It is like Charlotte Street. The people who come in
I'm not knocking Charlotte Street, but there is a style that you would have expected from this mall.
Definitely, but if we have no money to keep up the premises,
it's not maintained,
and the place is falling, literally falling apart.
Like Val Park. When last you been to Val Park?
Haven't been to Val Park.
Val Park's food court. The last time I was there, I must admit it was about a year ago, but it was like really disgusting. And I thought, if that's what I'm seeing in the front where we eat in, I have no idea what the back where they cook it.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's
5 places have closed down in the food court.
In this mall?
In this mall, including Johnny's. When I went to complain to management and say to them, what are we doing for our mall? I was told, this is 1.5 years ago, I was told, if you don't like it, you can move out. There's a waiting list. You will notice now.
Signs on the door.
Signs on the door, and they can't, these places have been vacant for a year. They can't rent them to save their lives.
Waiting list is thing of the past.
Waiting list is a thing of the past.
I just went to Birkenstocks because I shopped there, and the lady was explaining to me about her inventory problems because she can't get US. They can't get foreign exchange. So they don't have inventory. They have the popular sizes they can't get. How is that affecting you?
It affects me, but it also angers me in a way that you can't understand, simply because who gives who the right to tell me, a business who's been in business for 38 years, that they don't have foreign exchange to give me, but every 2x1/2 special person gets to open a franchise, or the 1%ers
when you go
get to open a franchise,
groceries and their drug stores,
and they're full of everything
overflowing on the shelves, nothing
overflowing
missing. Where are they getting that foreign exchange from? I keep asking that question. Does Trinidad have an alternate economy? Because the average person like yourself and Birkenstock and the average family who wants to go and get a couple hundred US to send to their children studying abroad is a whole lot of drama to try and to even get 200 US. How do you stay in business?
There's a whole lot. I can't stay in business, hence the reason I'm going out of business. I can't get the foreign US, the foreign currency. But I'll tell you, there's a striving black market. And the government knows there's a striving black market because much of it is coming through the construction industry.
Let me ask you a question. What is the black market price of US now? Do you know?
Between $7 and $7.50. Between $7.10 and $7.50.
So between $7.10 and $7.50. Now if the banks get an allocation of foreign currency and they buy it themselves or their friends buy it themselves and then sell it back to the black market, there's a nice little tidy profit going on there.
Of course it is.
Because I'm trying to understand why it would be so difficult for them to manage foreign currency in a country where everything we sell to the world is sold in US dollars. So I don't understand. Our consumption patterns didn't change so magnificently. And to make it worse, the entire world is booming. And I keep telling Trinidad and Tobago this. The world economy grew 3.5% unprecedentedly in 2017 and is on schedule to grow 4% in 2018, and only Trinidad and Tobago is in a recession.
Only Trinidad and Tobago is in a recession.
That is a special kind of madness, because it is either the governments, plural, are totally incompetent and have no idea how to run a tiny economy like this, because it's 1.4 million people. So the mayor of New York City runs an economy that has 8.5 million people. I tell Trinidadians all the time, there are more police in New York City than there are people in Tobago.
That's right. That's right.
When the World Trade Center fell, that building, those two buildings, had more telephone extensions than we had telephones in Trinidad. And that's just a point in perspective that it is not a difficult exercise to run this country. But it's either the governments are incompetent or they're complicit with someone forcing a fake recession to drive people like you out of business so other people could fill the gap and make the profit.
Yes, but that's a piece of stupidity, because any economy will tell you that it is the small businessman who
absolutely.
Who makes the economy
absolutely
move.
But just imagine if friends of finances who want to sell to the market that you sell, you are competition to them. With a fake recession that drives you out of business, their competition goes.
I don't mind if that were true. I could even handle that if that was true.
That is what I think.
Problem is that they are flooding the market with a bunch of cheap Chinese, cheap American knockoffs. And they still get the US to bring that stuff in. There are people bringing in containers and containers. I have it on film. I saw it. I went and cleared my goods and I saw it. What is being thing? Because everybody has a partner in customs. You understand? And
so it's just one big racket now.
It's just a big racket.
If you're not in the racket, you're out.
If you're not in the racket, you're out. If you're not willing to play part of the game, you're out. But the thing about it is, I wrote a piece on TV6 News Facebook page yesterday, because the question that somebody put forward is can Kamala get back in? And the forgive my language, this is my word, this is not Philip's word. Mm-hmm. The stupidity of us as a people to even think that any one of those two people should come back in party.
Bandit parties,
then let me just sit back.
Mismanagement is ridiculous.
Let me just sit back and say
what Trinidadians don't understand, when you say that business people, to stay in business, have to buy US between 710 and what?
Between 710 and 750.
The US currency, the value of the Trinidad and Tobago dollar is supposed to be $6.01 to a US dollar. That's the official exchange rate. When it sells, when people who have to do business have to buy US for $6.77 and $6.80, that's already the banks applying a 13% additional tax, an additional markup on the goods before they even reach Trinidad.
Absolutely.
If the buyer, if the business owner has to go and further take a further hit by buying US above $7, that's passed on to the consumer.
Of course, it's passed on to the consumer. It gets more complicated, and I think a lot of people don't understand, because when goods arrive, let's presume goods arrive and the price tag on the goods, the shipment cost $100. We don't pay duty on $100, we pay duty on $100 plus the transport plus the insurance. And then they tell us what the duty is, and then they tell us what the VAT is. It's a racket all over. It's a complete racket all over. So, there's no hope for the small business. And I guarantee you that within 2 years, all of this is closed down. I guarantee it. Unless you're cleaning money.
When you walk through West Mall, and you see the amount of empty stores. West Mall they have a little trick. They cover the glass with a picture of the mall, so you think that is a store. You don't realize that what you're looking at is an empty store. But when you walk through West Mall and see the amount of empty stores, you pay attention to it, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. The middle class in Trinidad and Tobago is collapsing.
Yep. Oh, I'm part of the middle class collapsing.
In any economy, the middle class serves such a vital role to keep the economy, keep the train on the tracks. Because it is through the middle class that the lowest class elevate themselves. The middle class is the largest employer in the country and the biggest mover of goods and services. if you compared all of the middle class to the couple conglomerates we have, we could do without the conglomerates. But when the middle class goes, we create a very tiny wealthy class and a massive peasant class.
That's exactly it.
And that's where we're heading.
That's exactly where we are.
And when you reach to that point, how you work, how you eat, what you could buy, what you could do, is determined by other people, a wealthy class and the government that they control, and the people lose their voice. The middle class is critical.
Why is it that we as a people don't see that though? I don't understand.
We're waking people up. If you look at the stunt with Massey and the bags, I could stop talking now because the rest of Trinidad have taken that and gone with it. They realize and they see. So people are not just waking up to being open to knowledge, but they're waking up and being willing to stand up and speak out, and that's important. I want to know, how does somebody sit here and close down a business she's given 38 years of her life?
She's angry. She's angry. I can't express my anger because then I become the angry black woman, right? But I'm angry that this country was so wealthy. I am angry that we survived the Black Power 70s. We survived the coup. We survived anything Trinidad had to throw at us, and yet mismanagement of the economy is what is destroying my business. You know, forget the country. I keep on saying people like it so. I don't understand how we still have two parties. I don't understand how there's anyone backing PNM. I don't understand how there's anyone backing UNC. I don't get it. Nobody can explain. Nobody's eloquent enough to explain that to me.
I ask questions all the time because when they say that this one did this and this one did that, I ask them. I said, look at the education system, the healthcare, the police service. Look at those three things. Those are critical to the management of the country. Healthcare, education, and the police service. Look at home ownerships, mortgages, the banks, the lack of regulations in the financial sector, what insurance companies get away with. Trinidadians are now reduced to lending the banks money. Right. Because you put your money in the bank, you get no interest on it. That is you giving the bank an unsecured loan. Interest free.
But what about the fact that a businesswoman like myself, in business for 38 years, with a family business of 55 years, who goes to all 4 major banks looking for an overdraft to be able to continue my business and being told, no, I'm a liability. How can I be a liability? I have proven myself to the banks for 38 years. For 38 years. And you tell me, no, I am a liability. Yet anybody building a set of massive townhouses that can't sell could go and get another 100 million to go and build another set that can't sell.
Chantal, I want to tell you something. This country has been reduced to a front for a criminal enterprise.
It is, absolutely.
There's a lot of money laundering going on in Trinidad and Tobago. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Cocaine, washing cocaine dollars. Plus, alongside that is all of the money that has been stolen from the public purse by politicians and their friends who have become businessmen. We've had situations where construction companies form overnight and in 5 years they're billionaires.
Absolutely.
We've had cloth companies switch to building schools and houses. And all of that money ends up in the system and that needs to be washed. We're seeing the birth of a money laundering empire, Trinidad and Tobago. And we're seeing 2 political parties masquerading as leadership that won't confront and deal with these issues, which begs the question, are they part of it? Are they involved? The PNM and the UNC front these narco-criminal empires? We have to ask these questions now.
They are involved.
Because we are losing Trinidad and Tobago. We are bearing down on this iceberg, the whole Titanic analogy. If we don't, as a people, stand up and change what passes for government in this country, we lost.
I totally agree, but I've been shouting that for years. Why is it other people are not shouting it? Why is it that I go on social media the other day, I have zero interest in Facebook anymore, but go on social media the other day and see an outrage about Kentucky as opposed to what is happening in the country?
And people's sexuality.
And people's sexuality, where our priorities is something wrong with us.
Our party organizer, Shari Wilson, said, if we could see the outrage that people showed in KFC and people's sexuality, people put that to government, we fix the country.
Absolutely correct. If they showed half the passion.
Our priorities misplaced.
Completely, totally
But when
misplaced.
you look at the media, what's passing for traditional media, CNC3 and TV6 and The Guardian and The Express, they're not bringing these conversations to bear. They're not bringing this type of information in the public space. So the people are being led astray.
Yeah, but because I always state that we have absolutely zero investigative reporters. We don't. You have to have the guts to ask the right questions, and when somebody starts to try to bully you through, you still ask your questions. Tell people to look at 60 Minutes. Tell people to look at some of the international BBC.
I have spoken to journalists who tell me, Philip, it's not that we don't want to do it,
Then get out the business.
They will be fired.
Then get out the business.
And, okay, but if you look at what's passing for journalists now, you see the media companies are owned by the same oligarchy that we're talking about, and the media companies don't want anybody shining a light on them. Faris Al-Rawi, as Attorney General, made 3 attempts to shut down social media, 3 attempts so far, because social media is the last voice of the people now. Without Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp, Trinidadians don't know what's going on,
Absolutely.
Without Facebook, Trinidadians don't know that the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force just admitted, after all the hijinks and all the lies that they lied to cover him, they're admitting now that the reason Faris Al-Rawi's children ended up with those high-powered weapons is because Faris, as Attorney General, requested it. And that's a whole different story. Now he's exposed for misbehaving in public office. But without social media, you wouldn't have known that.
But what is happening? He's exposed.
No, he's exposed now. So we know it's in the public space now. These things are not going to rest anymore. When Eric Williams said we were a 9-day people, I realized he said that not prophetically. He said that because they manipulated public opinion. The Guardian and the Express told you what to think about. So we didn't have a country where information was available to all the people. That's changed. Many people don't get their information from anything other than social media. And yes, there's a lot of tomfoolery on social media, and people get their priorities skewed. But I think
that's not my problem. My problem is that people are now exposed on social media about the things happening, but I still don't see people taking action. I personally asked several people who I thought were, I don't want to use the word intelligent, but they knew what they were talking about. Come, let's do a program. Let's do the Hyde Park Speakers Corner. Let's do a Speakers Corner. Let's get together Diane's tea shop on a Monday night. Let's find an area where we can talk, we can discuss matters, we could bring it to light. Nobody wants to be part of it.
Well, you see, I think that a lot of people believe that even if you brought things to light, if you didn't have a way and a means to push it forward or give people an alternative, it'll ultimately go nowhere. If we don't build different political vehicles, and I'm saying...
But that's what you are doing.
Absolutely, and I want you to understand, we don't want to be in politics. You don't want to be fighting these causes now. This has been put upon you. If we don't create political alternatives, and we want to encourage more people to create more political alternatives, come and copy what we do, because we did it on a shoestring. You could come and copy what we did, and we freely give advice. Because this country needs more of our people standing up and standing together. If we're
but why
fix
are our
this.
people so afraid?
Political victimization is a real thing. Political victimization, your business, your banker, the circles that you move in, you have no idea how easy it is for whispers in the right ear to assassinate your whole, not you as a person, but to assassinate your entire financial life. They could destroy you. They could tell people who do business with you, if you're doing business with her and you're doing business. I've experienced these things firsthand. If you're doing business with her and you're doing business with us, you can't do business with us.
So the alternative is that we're all going to keep quiet
and
continue?
No, because you see, what happened is the country is collapsing now. So the government has very little say on a lot of people. The vast majority of people now are realizing the rules, and they're getting a lot of critical information. And I am happy people like you are speaking out. You have a strong voice. When you speak, people listen. And it is important that many more people, and I am so sorry that you had to lose your business. I'm so sorry that to come to this.
It would have been absolutely ridiculous for me to continue on the basis with which I was doing business. I can't keep on. The first experience I had was when all the you couldn't get the US. Didn't much affect me because I'm a Euro person. We import from Europe. However, they started to jam on the Euro as well, telling me I couldn't get Euro. I said after that, many European businesses are dealing with credit card now, so I'll go the credit card route. Then they decided they're going to limit how much I can use on my credit card as well. It's insanity. We're becoming a dictatorship, and people are not even realizing it if you don't have the right surname.
Absolutely. But you see, that is what I think is critical to the discussion now. And we need to organize the middle class, because those who are hanging on by a thread,
and there are many
that don't want to rock the boat because they're afraid they lose the thread, I have news for them. They're going to lose the thread anyway. Their only hope.
But you know what it is, Philippa, also, I find there's a huge amount of embarrassment. People are embarrassed to see they're holding on by a thread.
I don't understand.
People are embarrassed to see that they're closing down. I have no...
Own it. Tell people
constantly tell me, you don't feel bad closing down after 38 years. I feel bad because I'm angry, but I'm not embarrassed. This is nothing I did.
I have a friend, a strong Syrian woman. She owns a lot of properties, and she's bawling to me. She's bawling to me this morning. She can't get her properties rented. She can't make her mortgage payments. She in trouble. So it's not like a race thing. As you said earlier, if you're not part of the right cabal, you're in trouble.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's sad, because what I can't understand is, this is an island of 1.4 million people. This is not a city of 60 million people. The kind of money we had, we should never have found ourselves in this situation. And somebody has to start answering as to why we are in this situation. And anybody who thinks that our only two options are these two parties is an idiot, and they look for what they get. Sue me for that. I don't care. I take a big ponging for you. I take a ponging from you on a daily basis. And I tell people, I could not care less if my next prime minister was a Chinese man with 5 eyes, 3 noses.
I want you to know this. Their number one play when you stand up is to attack your character, attack your name. To either frighten you away from it, because it's a hard thing to deal with. To come out on the other side, it took some growing for me. But they want to do two things. A, frighten you away from standing up and speaking out. Or B, destroy your ability to talk to people. If they destroy the messenger, if they discredit you, people wouldn't listen to your message. I have walked through that valley, that fire. I have come out on the other side. Now, too many people, when people come to talk nonsense, they miss me with that bullshit. We see what's going on. This is the hardest working man. This is the hardest working party. Nobody else in Trinidad is standing up for the country and standing up for the people on all of these critical issues. And exactly. And it is time now. We're seeing a pylon happening already, you know. People that I wouldn't have expected to be standing up politically and saying, you know what, it's time to rescue this country. Because if we run away from here, what do we have to show for all of this life we spent here? What's our legacy? Cut and run?
And what is scary is that you are the first party that has come close to causing ripples. Now, if you give up, we back for the next 50 years.
I promise you, I am not giving up, and I'm basing that on after they finish hurt you. Because I know the last day you close those doors, all the angry black strong woman you want to pretend that you are, the day you close those doors for the last time, you are going to cry. This is a big loss, and I know. And after those tears, after you dry those tears, the Progressive Empowerment Party wants and needs you. You are a strong, successful, brilliant woman. And it is people like you, Trinidadians and Tobagonians need to turn to now. And I hope after you get past all of the mourning and you're ready to fight, that you know there is a space and a place for you in the Progressive Empowerment
I'm there.
Party.
I'm there because I'm tired of being part of the let's talk about it over a drink. And then next morning we're doing the same crap. I want change. Too late for me, but I want change. I cannot continue to see what I'm seeing in this country and say nothing. If you realize I have no presence on Facebook anymore because I couldn't read one more stupid comment. I was battling with everybody every single day. I'd battle with people. I would turn around and say, if you, Philip Edward Alexander, if you accomplish half of what you've promised to accomplish, you would have done more than both parties combined in the last 40 years. Half.
Our policies are really strong.
Your policies are strong.
And they see that.
And they're
our
doable.
our team, big professional, our national security advisor has United States top secret classification clearance. We have good technocrats on board capable of breaking the things down to nuts and bolts and make it easy, common sense to understand. Trinidadians are seeing how education could be fixed, how healthcare could be fixed, how the price of food could be brought down. They're seeing those things and they're starting to understand.
Why do you think they're still fixating on issues that are absolutely unimportant? I'm going to bring it up, things like your past. Why do you think they still fixate on that?
I think that it is too easy to attack people, but as we go forward, you see it having less and less value, less and less meaning. Even the people who want to attack you personally, when they realize it's not making a difference, they're not stopping you, and the party is growing leaps and bounds every day. They had to try another attack. They have to now try. The reason for the attacks against me personally and the party is because they cannot stand against those policies that you just spoke about. They can't challenge the policies because they know it will work. And more importantly, they can't defend their track records because Trinidadians are asking the PNM and the UNC now, why didn't you secure the nation's borders? Why didn't you move the port out of Port-of-Spain to Point Lisas? Why didn't you move the government offices out of Port-of-Spain and centralize them? Why didn't you automate what could have been automated? Why isn't the licensing office 24 hours a day and I'm able to submit my picture and pay with my credit card online and get my driver's permit and my passport? Why are these things so difficult in a country connected to the world in 2018? Where this live video that I'm doing with you right now, there are people in China watching us live. We live in a world that is interconnected. We live in the age of information, and Trinidad is still backward, and they want that because they want the police service to be corrupt. When the New York City Internal Affairs people told us they will take 6 months to clean up the Trinidad and Tobago police service. 6 months. They say we have 65,000 police officers in New York City. You have 5,000 active police officers. We will clean up your service in 6 months and put an internal affairs in place in Trinidad and Tobago. The guy I spoke to, he said, police officers in New York City, they're not afraid of terrorists. They're not afraid of mafia. They're not afraid of gangsters. They're afraid of internal affairs. Internal affairs in New York City have one job: jail corrupt police officers. And they take that job very seriously. In New York City last year, their murder rate was 291 out of 8.1 million people. Ours was over 500 for 1.4 million. Their 291 ended up in them having meetings with the public to promise that they will reduce it this year. We've not even discussed how 500 of our people could have been murdered. Nobody cares.
And what is the solving rate? How many of those
The interdiction in Trinidad, 3%. Vernon de Lima told me, Vernon de Lima is one of Trinidad's top criminal attorneys. He was a founder of the Congress of the People. He said, Philip, there are people in remand now on murder charges that will never see a case. They will never see the inside of a courtroom for 40 years. The case can't start. Our courts cannot handle the workload, the backlog. And that's at a 3% interdiction rate. The entire thing could fall apart. Trinidadians are waking up in a country where nothing works.
The other day, it was posted what amalgamated are paid to transport prisoners.
1% of that to build the courts in the prisons.
And when you came up with the put a court, you put a judge. The amount of money it would save, and it's just went
Just that.
over the heads of Trinidadians.
Well, you see, again, because when the Secretary General of the Prison Officers Association said, when that deal was made to give amalgamated security the contract to move the prisoners, he said they weren't in the loop, they weren't consulted, nobody asked if they needed it, they know they don't need it, and he said it came like a thief in the night. And he said it like that for a reason. That means government and private sector made decisions for the operation of our prisons without consulting the people who actually operate the prisons. That's to show you the madness that is taking place. There is a company whose name is continuously mentioned to me as a premier supplier of medical supplies to our health sector. that when anybody else is given a contract, if you get past all of the obstacles to prevent you, because there's so much kickback, so much bubble, so much corruption in the health sector, that if we ever did a commission of inquiry into public health in Trinidad and Tobago, we'd have to jail a lot of very well-heeled front pew sitters and Trinidadians not ready to confront and resolve that. They say, I have medical professionals tell me, companies come to provide, to deliver the orders that they finally got, and at the receiving bay in the hospital, they close the door and tell them nobody here to receive it, come back tomorrow.
What's the purpose of that?
So that even if you succeed in getting an order to supply the health sector not receiving it. So it will frustrate you. There are people who bring food to Trinidad, who bring fruits and vegetables to Trinidad at a cheaper price than the 1%, and it's left on the port and it's tied up in red tape and come back in a week and come back in 2 weeks and come back in 3 weeks, and by the time you reach back, everything that you imported spoiled. So that you lost all that money and you had to go through all this drama of insurance to see if you could recover, and you will never ever try to import food again because you know you'll go through that again. And all of that is the deliberate mismanagement of the country by a small handful of people and 2 corrupt political parties, and it is that we're fighting. Chantal, I am apologizing to you on behalf of every generation that failed to do what we are trying to do now, which is to stand for all of our people. I am apologizing to you because I know the amount of effort that you put. This is your life's work. I walk in here and you're fixing stuff.
Oh God, don't forget about this. This is the ugliest thing in the world.
No, but what I'm saying is that you're still here and this is still what you do. This has to be hurting.
It does hurt. It does hurt. And for some reason, Lawrence Dupre loves this mole. So he's walking around it all the time. That hurts. I could make a jail easily. That probably shouldn't be on radio, but
no, I mean, you can run up and kiss anybody, but I want to tell you something. I cannot wait for the time that you stand on a public platform and speak to Trinidadians. I think you are...
I wouldn't be popular because there's nothing you could do me.
Trinidadians I owe
right now, nothing to no one.
Trinidadians don't want popular, they want strong, they want believable, they want credible, they want intelligent, they want to look at people and say, yes, I'll follow her.
But I can't be politically correct either. I want to look at a man who lives in Laventille and say, tell me, you explain to me why you are voting PNM. Give me one good reason, and I'll shut my mouth. One good reason.
This is not the time to be politically correct. This is the time to be factual and honest.
And angry.
Trinidadians need real leadership. I think that you have a part to play, Chantal. Thanks a lot for taking the time for this.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to say before we end it?
Not at all, no.
Thanks a lot.
I will see you at the end of the 30th of May.